Is this you?
Nope.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday's October 8th City Council agenda meeting. I now call us to order. We will now have a pledge of allegiance and an invocation, should he please, by Vice Chairman Henderson.
Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God asked Solomon to ask him anything that he would, and Solomon in return said, "So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours?" Would you bow in prayer for me, with me? God, tonight we do need wisdom from you to be able to discern between right and wrong and what's good and bad. Just give us clarity of thought and good judgment. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Now, at this time, we will move into the order of business for this City Council meeting. Now, I ask for approval of the minutes. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have no business tonight in final reading, so now we will move on to ordinances on first reading. Madam Clerk, would you please start with 6A?
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 100 Peak Street, more particularly described herein from R1 residential zone to ERD2 urban edge residential detached 2 stories maximum height zone.
Is the applicant present? Is there opposition? Okay. Brian. Okay, Brian. Okay, Brian, would you please give us a presentation, please?
Projector comes up here, but this is a request to rezone basically 100 Peak Street from R1 to ERD2 for a single-family dwelling. They want to do an ADU in the back of this property. It's currently zoned R1. Everything around this is R1. To the east, there is existing form-based code ERD2 and ERA3, which was rezoned in 2018. The site plan that was submitted with this request shows the construction of an ADU in the back of this property. Currently in the R1 zone, you cannot do an ADU. You have to do a form-based code zone. Therefore, the applicant's asking for a form-based code zone. Staff did not have any concerns with this request. There was no opposition at Planning Commission, and Planning Commission recommended to approve.
Councilman Henderson.
Brian, how long does the sign for rezoning have to stay up?
Throughout the entire rezoning process, including tonight.
So it should be up now?
Should be up.
So I drove by last night and even took a picture. There is no sign posted. And apparently, I don't know when it came down, but there's not a lot of people that were under the understanding that this property was being rezoned. So all I can go by is there was not a sign last night when I drove by there.
Right. If you see on your screen, there was a picture of the sign when it was through Planning Commission.
Well, I saw I did see that. In fact, I could tell by the way in the documentation that you gave us
Right.
where that sign had been posted. But then I took another picture and there's no sign there. But I was just curious. I thought it had to stay up all the way through the council.
That is correct.
But,
That is
okay.
correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, would the applicant like to speak? Oh, well, please come forward, and Mr. City Attorney, would you please read the rules?
Sir, you have a total of 7 minutes to be able to discuss this matter. There's no opposition this evening, but present your case to the council in that 7-minute time period.
It won't take nearly 7 minutes. No, just a comment about the sign. I can't say what happened to the sign. I can tell you, I am the applicant's stepfather. I've been over there many times in the last 3 or 4 months. The sign has been there every time I've been there. Honestly, I have not been there in the last week, so I can't speak further, except to say that I did see the sign numerous times over the last several months. That's really all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last week, when we went over this in planning and zoning, I, in fact, asked John Bridger if any opposition had come forward, because I knew that Hill City had worked diligently to make sure that this area stayed R1, and we were at a Hill City neighborhood meeting last night in which we discussed it, and they took a vote to request denial of this, saying that they really didn't want to see form-based code encroach, west past Spears Street. There is some right there east of Spears on kind of North Hamilton, North Market Street, right in through there. But as far as creeping into the neighborhood, they restated that their desire was to see that Hill City remain an R1 neighborhood. So at this time, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to deny the request.
Okay, motion. Is there a second? Okay, Councilman Mitchell, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property right across Spears that's ERD 2, it was ERD 2, there it is.
That is correct. It's same request. They rezoned.
Was that, can you go back, please? Go back. Okay. Was that part of the original form-based code, or was that added on later? In other words, did we?
That was added on later.
So we granted that ERD 2 at a later time?
Correct. And it's the same scenario as the applicant tonight. They wish to do an ADU. And it was granted, I think, last year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilman Henderson.
So I will say, and this is, I guess, a plug for addressing the ADUs throughout Chattanooga. In the Hill City neighborhood meeting, they stated that they had no objection whatsoever to the ADU. It was simply to the rezoning and bringing the form-based code across the street to Spears Avenue. They sort of saw Spears Avenue as sort of the line in the sand, since there were other form-based code there on Hamilton and, well, Dallas, whatever, but North Market. But they felt like if it crept across Spears Avenue, that it would just open the door for form-based code to start creeping up all the way through there. And they have worked very diligently to try to maintain and make sure that this neighborhood stayed R1. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor that has been properly seconded. All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, 6B, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 1909 Gun Barrel Road, more particularly described herein from O1 Office Zone to C2 Convenience Commercial Zone.
Councilman Ledford.
Unless there's any opposition, I'm good to go.
Okay. Is there any, the applicant here?
Move to approve.
It's been moved okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, I just want to back up to item 6A and make sure for the record it was made a motion to deny.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that was clear. Thank you. Okay. 6C, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 901 South Holsclaw Avenue, 903, 9105, and 1001 South Greenwood Avenue, two unaddressed parcels in the 1300 blocks of Bennett and Anderson Avenue, and more particularly described herein from M1 Manufacturing Zone, M2 Light Industrial Zone, and R1 Residential Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
We have Councilwoman Coonrod, followed by Councilman Byrd. Is the applicant present? Yes. Okay. Is there any opposition? What's your pleasure, Councilwoman? Would you like? We want to. Ma'am, just come to the, yeah, you have the 7 minutes to speak.
Hi, I'm Jerry Price. I'm the lead designer for Lucy Boiler. We're fine with everything we've discussed except for the height limit to the 2-story or 35 feet. As I think was discussed last week, we have a large rock formation which splits our properties on Greenwood, and then there's a drop-off. That is UGC, so if we have this height restriction, it will possibly limit the architecture and design we can do toward Lucy Boiler. So we did not discuss the 2-story height restriction before.
Okay, you, Councilman Byrd.
Dallas? Not Dallas.
Brian, okay, Brian.
Thank you, Chair. John was explaining to us that, you know, with this particular project, with putting the height restrictions on it to whether if it was to change hands or something was to change, then by it being zoned, it will then people can go to this maximum or can do these stories in this community that are not, in my understanding, wanted to go that high. With this development, yes, the community is 100% behind it, but what will we be able to put in place to protect to where that this place change hands, that height restriction, someone can't come in and take away what they have and then just shoot the building straight up?
Yes, without a condition, the UGC zone has a maximum height of 4 stories.
Right.
So without a condition, you can go 4 stories on this property, potentially. I think the applicant's saying because of a rock that's on the property, they cannot go that high. They maybe have to push it back a little further because of that rock. But if you don't put a height requirement on it, the next applicant can go 4 stories.
Exactly, and that's, to me, I think the applicant is saying that she didn't want the height restriction.
That's correct. That's my understanding.
We don't mind a condition on that side of the parcels. It's the rear side below the rock formation that we have an issue with. So we have no issue with the height restriction on South Greenwood. But the parcel goes all the way back to what is Lucy Lane, part of our complex.
Which is those parcels that has the red dot. Those are the ones on Greenwood that the condition applies to. I think the applicant doesn't want the condition to apply to the entire,
Correct.
those 3 parcels, the entire parcel.
We have no intention of putting 4 stories on a residential street.
Right, and that's the problem. I don't think that me and the councilwoman here and talking to the community think that you're going to do it, but 2010 or 15 years, something can happen and you don't have possession of the property anymore, then someone can come in without that condition and build a 4-story home there.
I'm going to let Donna, our civil engineer, address that.
I have a possible solution. If you look at the plat, which is plat book 27 page, I don't remember, there's already a lot line on, I think it's 905 South Greenwood, which is right in line with the rock formation. It would be a very defining line because it's a recorded plat. I think if we stayed from that lot line, internal lot line forward, I think it's divided into lot 1 and lot 2. It's former lot 22 and 23 or something like that. If you stayed on that dividing line, which is, do you have a pointer? Which is roughly in this area. And so on South Greenwood, you would have that restriction. But from that lot, this lot right here is the one that is platted and divided. We would just carry that line straight through across 903. and then the restriction would not be on the second half. We would be willing to tomorrow send something to the city attorney's office showing that so that it could be in the description for next week on your second reading.
Councilman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, 3 red dots. The 2 red dots side by side, the addresses of those are Greenwood, right?
Correct.
The 3rd red dot, is that address Greenwood?
Yes, all 3 of them are Greenwood addresses.
Would it be possible to just put the limitation on the Greenwood addresses?
That's how it's written now. Actually, it applies to specific parcel numbers, which are those 3 parcels.
Okay. So those are limited, or the suggestion is?
Suggestion to limit those.
Those are limited, but the rest of it is not.
Correct.
Thank
Mr. Schultz, let's just see the whole presentation, okay?
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Let me go back here. Yeah, it has several addresses on Holtzclaw, Bennett's Avenue, Anderson Avenue, and South Greenwood Avenue. It's about 6.79 acres in size. Top 2 pictures are the picture of the site itself. The bottom left is a picture of the adjacent homes that are nearby. And then bottom right is a picture looking down South Holtzclaw Avenue. You can see the sign indicating the public hearing at the Planning Commission. This is just a map showing topo and the site highlighted in blue. They do have some little bit of topo issues on this site, not much though. It's currently zoned M1, M2, and R1 with no conditions. This site was included in 2008 Highland Park zoning study, which removed these properties from the Tennessee Temple PUD. Between 2009 and 2018, we've had about 9 zoning cases to rezone property to UGC in Highland Park with conditions. Within the Highland Park neighborhood, there have been 4 rezoning cases for UGC zone that have been approved with a variety of different conditions, limiting height, uses, and vehicular access. Just a reminder what the M1, M2 uses allow. Again, there's no conditions on this property. You can do boiler works, blast furnace, foundries, recycling process centers, furniture manufacturer, greenhouses, offices. The UGC zone restricts those uses to retail sales and service, office, banks, residential dwellings, but not single family. It also incorporates design standards in terms of minimum, maximum setbacks, building height and massing, percentage of openings and windows, and placement of dumpster. This was located in the Highland Park Tennessee Temple University Land Use Plan, which was adopted in '99. It recommends the adaptive reuse of manufacturing plants. The UGC zone does not allow for single-family detached dwellings, which is inconsistent with adopted land use plan. Again, the plan does support the reuse of these sites into some type of use, put them back on the tax records. A portion of this is the staff recommendation. A portion of this request is compatible with the adopted land use plan. Staff is recommending to rezone a portion of the site to UGC and the remainder to RTZ with conditions. So this is what this site plan is showing. The red dots, staff recommended to rezone to UGC with conditions of auto-oriented uses, wholesaling with accessory warehousing, self-service storage facilities, and adult-oriented establishments being prohibited. Buildings shall not exceed 3 stories or 40 foot in height, and dumpsters shall be permitted only on parcel 146JD1, which is 901 South Holtzclaw Avenue. For the other 4 parcels, which are shown in red dots, staff was recommending to approve RTZ subject to 2 conditions: single-family detached dwellings and vehicular access and parking to be from the rear. Planning Commission, there was no opposition. Planning Commission recommended to approve the entire site to UGC with conditions. The condition recommended by Planning Commission on these parcels with a red dot was for single-family detached only. That's incorrect. It should be residential uses only. You cannot do single-family in a RTZ zone or UGC. The remainder, which is UGC, Planning Commission recommended to rezone that UGC with the following condition: auto-oriented uses and accessory wholesaling, warehousing, self-storage facilities, and adult-oriented establishments are prohibited. Of Of course, this is the site plan that's submitted with the request, and that's where we are today with a recommendation to approve with conditions. And I think last week there was a condition added to the UGC, which is to be used for residential, limiting the height of those structures.
Brian, can you also reference the address issues that are involved here?
Yes, in the alternate version, there was a couple of typos in the addresses. It should be, instead of 9105, it should be 905 South Greenwood Avenue, and also add 1304 Union Avenue to the caption. And there's a tax map number incorrect too. Yes, it's parcel, the ordinance states parcel 146JD10. It should be 146OA10. So next week you'll have an alternate version.
Okay. Councilman Byrd, then Councilwoman Coonrod.
I yield to Councilwoman.
Now, you're asking, ma'am, that it just be limited to on the Greenwood side, and then the other side is no height restrictions?
Correct.
And then are you okay with all the other conditions?
Yes, we found the corrections we made, and then we just are, we take issue with the height restriction, only on the Lucy Boiler side, not on the residential.
Okay, I'm gonna move to defer it to next week, so we could just have an opportunity to talk about it, see what it looks like, and, move forward next week with it.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
thank you.
It's been moved by Councilman Coonrod, seconded by Councilman Mitchell to defer until October 18th. Yeah, October 18th. All in favor by the sign of aye? Opposers, nay. Motion carried. Item deferred until October the 18th. 15th, okay, 15th. That's what I thought. Okay, excellent. Item number D, letter D.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, Article 16, downtown form-based code, Division 1, introductory provisions, Section 38-692, legal requirements, 10C, expansion of the form-based code boundary.
Is the applicant present?
I guess we're the applicant, RPA.
Oh, okay, well,
This is Texan.
what's your pleasure? Darren Ledford, Councilman.
Thank you, sir. This is in your district. If you have no opposition, I'd like to move to approve.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been moved and properly seconded by Councilman Byrd. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye? Aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to resolutions. 7A.
A resolution authorizing the waiver of fees for the use of the Chattanooga Green and Ross's Landing for the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival to be held on October 11 and 12, 2019, for the benefit of the Erlanger Neuroscience Institute for an amount not to exceed $10,000.
We have Councilman Ledford, followed by Councilwoman Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We went over this in strategic planning last week, and if there's no objection, I'd like to move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded by Councilwoman Byrd. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye? Opposers, nay. Motion carries. Finance item B.
A resolution authorizing $23,785,000 City of Chattanooga, Tennessee General Obligation Bonds, Series 2019A, and authorizing certain actions related thereto.
Councilwoman Byrd.
Move approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Councilwoman Coonrod. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye? Opposers, nay. Motion carries. Item C, please.
A resolution authorizing $18,860,000 City of Chattanooga, Tennessee General Obligation Bonds, Series 2019B, and authorizing certain actions related thereto.
Councilwoman Byrd, followed by Councilman Gilbert.
Move approval.
It's been moved.
Mayor,
Yes, please.
for the record, I think there is a typographical error in the refunding resolution. This is the $18 million one. The paying agent, the registrar and paying agent is the Bank of New York, not the U.S. Bank, in item number 6. That's the only, it's just,
Okay.
did get changed.
Okay.
I just confirmed that with the financial advisors.
Okay. Ms. City Attorney, we good?
Let me
The version
double
I
check
have here.
here.
I'm sorry? Oh, I'm looking at the resolution itself.
The current resolution says U.S. Bank National Association. It's supposed to be Bank of New York.
Yes,
Okay, we'll make that change.
no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a motion on the floor.
Motion to amend to include the Bank of New York as the
Okay.
paying agent.
Sure. I'll need a motion to amend as the Bank of
New York.
New York as the paying agent. Okay. It's been moved and properly seconded to amend as stated. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries to amend. Okay. The original motion has been removed and properly seconded. All in favor?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I believe that should be moved as amended.
Moved, okay.
As a-
Thank you. Moved as amended. All in favor? It's been seconded. All in favor by the sign of aye. Okay. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Councilman Mitchell. Item D, please.
A resolution authorizing the Chattanooga Police Department to accept a 2019 Dodge Charger fully loaded, won by the traffic unit at THSO Lifesavers Conference on September 6, 2019, for taking part in the SAFE campaign, Seatbelts Are for Everyone, to be used by the Special Operations Division for an estimated value of $50,000.
Councilwoman Burrs, followed by Councilman Ledford. Councilman Burrs.
Yeah, so can I drive it? Will there be any police getting ready to give me a ticket for speeding? Probably, okay. So can I borrow it and drive it around the neighborhood? Yeah, all right, okay. With those conditions, I move approval.
Okay. And this, Councilman Ledford.
I'm borrowing it this weekend, second.
Okay. Then y'all have to pick it up at my house. Any questions? Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye? Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay. Thank you. Just call me before you come, okay? Now we move on to Public Works and Transportation item. Public Works, E, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for acceptance into the Brownsfield Voluntary Program for the Old Lupton City Mill site, and if approved, to execute the Brownfield Voluntary Agreement in substantially the form attached with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation as outlined in the agreement.
Councilman Mitchell, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Move approval. Second.
Okay, it's been moving properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item F, please.
A resolution authorizing the award of contract number Y19014201 to JDH Company, Inc. of Chattanooga, Tennessee, replacement roofing system for Warner Park UTC softball field house in the amount of $45,800 plus a contingency amount of $5,000 for a total amount of $50,800.
It's been moved by Councilman Byrd and seconded by Councilwoman Coonrod. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. That ends this portion of our business. Now we'll move on to purchases. Okay.
Good evening, Council. We have several purchasing items for your consideration of approval. The first being from our fire department, a purchase of a mock alert system CAD interface being awarded to TriTech Software Systems doing business as Central Square Technologies for a total cost of $26,520. The next being...
Wait a minute, 1 second, Tony, please. Chief, would you like to give us a briefing on that, please? Thank you. All right, Ms. Daisy, would you give us a briefing on this fire item?
The Mark Alert system that you're voting on tonight is part of a large project that has been a long time coming for us. And there's going to be a component a couple of weeks from now that you guys will be voting on by a resolution. And I just wanted that to be clear to everyone. This is a component of a much larger project. And ultimately, this purchase tonight and the resolution in a couple of weeks will allow us to dispatch our companies faster. It should significantly reduce our response times, which are already good, but we're pleased to have this the product if we can get it. So thank you. Any questions?
None, Chief. Thank you for giving us a bit of information. Okay, Tony, thank you.
All right. Our next item from our Department of Information Technology, a blanket contract renewal with Mythics Incorporated. It's an Oracle software and support awarded to Mythics Incorporated for an estimated annual amount of $300,000. The next item, also from Information Technology Department, blanket contract renewal for our EIS Technologies Incorporated, also an Oracle reporting module associated with the Oracle system, being awarded to EIS Technologies Incorporated for an estimated annual amount of $33,000. And also from Information Technology Department, a blanket contract renewal for Carasoft Technologies Corporation for the Google Products and Services Information Services, awarded to Carasoft Technology Corporation in an estimated annual amount of $750,000. Next, we have a blanket contract renewal from our Youth and Family Development Department for kitchen equipment repairs and services, being awarded to Mountain City Services in an estimated annual amount of $30,000. Next, also for Youth and Family Development, is a blanket contract renewal for milk and dairy products being awarded to Mayfield Dairy Farms in an estimated annual amount of $170,000. Next, also for Youth and Family Development, a blanket contract renewal for bread and bakery products being awarded to Bimbo Bakery USA in an estimated annual amount of $114,000. Next, from our Transportation Department in the Operations Division, a blanket contract renewal for traffic signs blanks being awarded to U.S. Standard Signs Company at an estimated annual amount of $43,000. Also from the Transportation Department in our Traffic Operations Division, a blanket contract renewal for LED traffic sign inserts being awarded to General Traffic Equipment Corporation at an estimated annual amount of $38,000. From our Public Works Department, our Waste Resource Division, there's a name change blanket for one of our POs. The company is Mississippi Lime Company. Next, we have a purchase from our Public Works Department, Fleet Management Division. Purchase 3 2020 Auto Car ACX 64 chassis with a Heil 33 cubic yard Durapack Python side loading body, being awarded to Stringfellow Incorporated, a total amount of $920,949. Next, from our Public Works Department, Waste Resource Division, a new blanket contract for liquid sodium bisulfite being awarded to Southern Ionics at an estimated annual amount of $730,500. Also from our Public Works Department, our Fleet Management Division. 2, blanket contract renewals for vehicle collision repair and services being awarded to Lee Smith Incorporated and Mako Collision Center. Total estimated annual amount of $300,000. Next, from our Public Works Department, excuse me, from our Waste Resource Division, a blanket contract utility locating and marking services being awarded to USIC Locating Services LLC at an estimated annual amount of $260,000. Lastly, we have from Public Works, from our Facilities Management Division, a new blanket contract for open office landscape furniture being awarded to Nashville Office Interior, NOI, in an estimated annual amount of $250,000.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. And Mara, maybe this is you, I'm not sure. And this is not a pro or con Oracle question. This is during budget time. I remember my colleagues asked for a plan. What is our plan? What is our IT plan? And we've not gotten that. And I know that Councilman Smith has asked for it as well. And again, this isn't pro or con Oracle. This is, so far, the last report we got from IT was some cute little thing, cartoony thing, and we've seriously asked for an IT report. What is the plan going forward? Maybe it is Oracle, maybe it's, I don't know, but we've never received the plan. I need some help with that.
Currently, we're in the process of working and developing the RFP to go out for bid for the services.
But we've never seen what is the plan that is the backup for the RFP? Or are you asking for proposals for plans?
We're putting together a comprehensive RFP that's going to be able to facilitate not only our finance department, but the other partners in our HR department, as well as procurement. And we wanted to make sure that the direction where we were facing, going earlier did not have all that inclusively. So as council had asked for a plan, we wanted to step back to make sure that we had the RFP process that would be all inclusive of all the components that are necessary to facilitate all the needs of our various departments, where we can hopefully have one system that will be able to facilitate all the needs that we have in the city. However, in putting that together, we wanted to make sure we stepped back. We took time to review all the needs from the various areas to make sure we put that product together to then be placed out in the market for solicitation for bids.
Okay, so if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
So the RFP was for proposals for plans to meet identified needs of the city?
Yes.
It wasn't to fulfill some plan that we've come up with. That's where I'm confused.
Well, we have our current financial software that is in need to be renewed. It's time for us to look at putting that out for bid. In the process of doing that, we recognize there are additional needs from other departments where they can work in tandem together, including our HR department, procurement, like I mentioned earlier. And so in doing so, it allowed us to step back, to be more intentional about what product we want to put out on the market, to solicit for the best.
Is there an overall plan, the city of Chattanooga's plan to meet and integrate all its needs? This is the plan, and we're putting an RFP out for who can implement that best? Or are we putting our, see, I've never seen a plan. That's what I'm asking.
Hi, good evening. There is
Hi.
a plan. Yes, ma'am. That is the plan as Tony's explaining it. We're putting out the RFP to get proposals to replace the system. The current system we have
So the
has-
RFP, so we haven't sat around and come up with a plan that would properly integrate everything irrespective of the vendor. I guess that's what I'm asking.
Right. The RFP that we're putting on the street is to get proposals from
For
vendors.
a plan.
For a plan, yes, for a system, which system they're proposing, so that we
Okay.
can select and see how to move forward.
Yeah,
It's impossible for us to come up with a plan that shows a financial impact without us going to the market and seeing which vendors propose to us. So I think the appropriate time to be asking that question would be once we understand what the market will bring us back. So they go hand in hand, but we're also seeing which vendors are out there so that we can give you what you asked for, which was that cost-benefit analysis that was talked about during the budget.
right, right. I know that Oracle, this, again, I don't even want to put Oracle out there. What I'm saying is, and I think what you're saying, Stacy, is that we're going out there and asking for an RFP for what it would cost to integrate, the most cost-beneficial way to integrate everything. Is that correct?
Yes,
That's
that is
what
correct. The proposal is to replace and to expand to meet all the city's needs, a system that, we're putting all the requirements in the RFP so that vendors can then reply, and we'll go off of those through competitive bids.
Okay, then my second question is, we're spending $300,000, $333,000 here for material that we may not use?
So it's time for the annual renewal of the licensing of the current system we have. And the RFP process in itself is a 6 to 9 month process, so yes.
9
we
months.
will use that. And then you also have your implementation afterwards. So yes, the license renewals are necessary during this time to continue. Right.
We're talking about an entire system that serves over 3,500 employees. So yes, ma'am, we need multiple departments to weigh in to the process and make sure that we don't go off half-baked to replace our entire system. So yes, ma'am, it is a long process, and then as Donna alluded to, is an even longer implementation process to get all those things integrated. So it's very safe to say that everything we're purchasing here today would be used regardless of the results of that RFP.
Will be used?
Yes, ma'am.
They'll be used, so will there be another renewal a year from now of $300,000?
Yes, ma'am.
So what we're spending now, we need to spend because of the implementation period.
Right, that is correct. That is the annual cost for renewal of those licensing for the current modules that we use.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Donna, before you go. Let's see if I understand this correctly. So basically, we don't have a backup plan. This is the plan, and this is the licensing to keep us going.
Yes, that is
Okay,
correct.
so we really don't have a choice on this one right now.
Right,
Okay.
for our current system.
Understood. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. My next one, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Tony, I'm going to be the thorn in the side again on how much money we allocate to furniture. Our last week, we did not have any purchases. We had a $250,000 blanket contract for citywide landscape furnishing. And now we're here again with another $250,000 landscape furniture. And it gets very frustrating when people come to us and they say, why can't we do certain things in the city? Why can't we pave our roads? Why can't we do this and that? And we tell them, and this is not on you, it's just very frustrating for us. And we say, oh, sorry, it's not funded, or we don't have the money for it. But by gosh, we've got $500,000 in 2 weeks to spend on furniture. And with blanket renewals for another $500,000 that are going to come up year after year just on this one. So I just would like to understand why we are spending so much in blanket contracts. Whether or not we're not spending it all is irrelevant to me. The fact that we are able to, the fact that we're allocating $250,000 in each, $500,000 in 2 weeks is just blowing my mind. As a small business owner, I'm going, I've sat in the same chair for 8 years, and I'm trying to figure out what in the world we are doing. That's a lot of stuff, even at 72% discounts. I'm reading the contract. I read through the whole thing this week. It was 180 pages, by the way, with all the reports. Consulting fees, $155 an hour for sound dampening consulting fees. Man, I wish I could get that gig. I mean, seriously, I'm in the wrong business. And I'm just trying to figure out what in the world are we doing, and then we turn people away when their streets are falling apart. And I'm just trying to figure that out. And what I'd like to do is, I'm not asking for an answer, and I'm sorry that you're at the microphone tonight. You're an amazing guy, and I love working with you. Justin, same thing. It's just frustrating when people are coming to us pleading. But purchases like this are just flying in from right and left. So all I'm asking for is if we could maybe take a look at this, get some explanations, move this item, and defer this for 1 week. That's in the form of a motion.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded to defer item R190676 for 1 week, which would be the October the 15th. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion deferred till October the 15th. Okay?
Mr. Chairman, I believe the Public Works Director wanted to make a comment.
Yes, please.
That's totally fine, because I'm all about communication.
Yes, no comment, sir. Just want to clarify what information you'd like for us to provide related to this
I would like
contract.
to know what kind of master plan we have in the city or dire need that we're willing to spend this amount of money consistently every year. Since I've been here, I've been questioning why we're spending and have blanket contracts for so much in furniture. I'm like, what are we doing to go through this furniture?
Yes, sir. It may be more helpful if we explain how we use blanket contracts, and we may even be able to explore tightening up those blanket contracts, more accurately depict how we use those contracts in relation to what is authorized and then what is budgeted. But I'd be happy to put some information together. I do want to clearly help inform that. So just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, because to the optics of it are very confusing, especially when folks see this in writing, we vote on it. To them, that's $250,000 that we have to spend on furniture week after week, after year. It starts to add up, and then we tell folks, sorry, we can't pave your neighborhood roads.
I'd love to add some clarity to that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Justin.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you,
Councilman.
Tony.
Thank you, Justin. Well, we have Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Sims, if you can explain to me here, I just so happen to caught my eye here on this exemption that we have here, and I noticed like it's not on every blanket contract, but on some. So why is it that we're exempt from the usual advertising and bidding requirements on some of them under this state law, TCA 6-56-304.2? And it's on a lot of the blanket contracts here, and I've just noticed it here. Why is it certain type contracts that we can be exempt from under this state code, or is it all kinds that can go up under there, or what?
To give you more clarity on that, I first would like to defer to our city attorney for a response on that.
Okay.
There are a few exceptions to the normal bidding requirements under Tennessee law. I noticed the one that's referencing at least the purchase of vehicles here would have a specific loading capacity on the back of the truck on there. That is referenced as a single source purchase that's exempt because there's only one group that can actually provide that type of device as an add-on to that vehicle. I haven't seen the other ones on here. I'll be glad to look at each individual one if there's another reference. That one is referenced as a single source purchase under state law, which is Tennessee Code Annotated 656-304.
And what does this, what was the renewing the blanket PO using communities contract? What was that about?
Let's see, got Terrasoft.
Yeah, it's on the information technology, the PO 543102, because it say the lowest bidder or bid, it was the Aerosoft Technologies.
Yes.
But then in the comments, it's saying that we're renewing the blanket contract for U.S. Communities contract. Which one will be using it?
There is a reference for a contract that might be out there as a U.S. Communities contract in connection with this. It's also referenced in single source. I'm not sure why it would have both references. Normally, it would either be buying off of a contract that is established out there for one location here that multiple people have already been bidding through, or it would be a single source, and I'm not sure exactly why that's different.
Okay.
U.S. Communities is one of those by board.
Yes.
So you can select off of that. It's an approved list, already approved by the state of Tennessee, and you can buy off of that list.
But that's not a single source. So that's
Okay.
a separate section of the TCA.
Thank you for explaining that.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if seeing no other questions, what's your pleasure on? Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded by Councilman Byrd. Any questions? More? Move for, thank you, yeah. Move for approval as amended. All in favor, by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. Yeah, we did make a modification on one of the deferrals. Okay. Now we'll move on to other business. Is there any other business the council would like to share tonight? Councilwoman Burrs?
Two things, Mr. Chair. First of all, I want to congratulate the Family Justice Center for a terrific grant, over $600,000, to deal with victims. We'll be hearing more about that later. It was one of 3 awarded in the nation, and we're very fortunate to have those services here. The second thing I want to talk about is a really neat thing that I attended this weekend. My family and I attended the Pride Festival downtown, and it was outstanding. There were people from all over the community and outside the community there, families, lots of children playing, great food, a lot of people down there. And one got the feeling that Chattanooga, in very good taste, was very open to all sorts of celebrations. I know that there was the Cultural Fest celebration down at the market. There was the MLK Big 9 Festival, and there was music.
Wine over water.
Wine over water and everything. And it made me very, very proud of my community that we're as diverse and welcoming as we are. So I just wanted to make a comment about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. It was a great weekend for all kind of activities, for all kind of people, for all kind of cultures, for all kind of music. And it just goes to show you that regardless of what you may hear from time to time, there's a lot to do in Chattanooga. You just need to go out and grab it and just do it. Councilman Byrd.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, just definitely want to echo Councilwoman Byrd's that definitely just speak on the Big 9 Roots Festival. It happened on MLK, my district. I really was happy to see what the Bessie Smith Hall and Mr. Edwards done. I mean, this just was an amazing event to see the people and the families out enjoying themselves. We're definitely gonna miss the strut, but I think they capitalized on something really good when it came to the Big 9 Roots Festival, and I just salute them and hope to see it again next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. It was a great festival. Councilwoman Kumrod, anything you got? Anybody else? If not, we'll move on to committee reports. We'll go back to you, Councilwoman Burrs. Hit the button, please. Hit it one more time. We kind of synchronize it here.
All right, now it's on.
There you go. It's
All right.
yours.
Today, beginning at 10 o'clock, We started doing all the work that finally culminated today at 6 o'clock with the 40-some-odd million dollar bond issues. There was a lot of work. Daisy's already gone again, by she and her team to get us there. For the first time, the Finance Committee made certain that this whole process of letting these bonds was totally transparent. And so we saw the bonds happening. We voted and approved the process at 2 o'clock, and then we just approved the bonds, and it puts us in a very healthy financial state. I will put on the record that when the bids came up, we received 17 bids, which is unheard of, the highest that our finance people have ever seen. The finance people from New York is 15. Chattanooga is very sound financially and is a city that people want to finance. So I just think the public should know that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. Councilman Byrd.
You got me? Okay. We had an amazing committee report doing ECD, where ECD and also the chamber presented to us all things Tubman and the Nepean site that they're looking to see placed on the Tubman site. The vote still has to come up concerning the Tubman site and the Nepean Paint Company, and we still have to talk and vote on a TIF that they also presented to us today. I just encourage everyone to help us do research. Everyone up here has a vote to move this project forward. So if it's any findings or anything that you would like to talk to any one of us about, please email us or call us so that we can answer your questions and clear up any mishaps, because we do want this to be a perfect fit for the community, and we do not want to disturb the quality of life for anyone. So I just ask that you all please stay tuned and reach out if you have any concerns or any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. Man, we had an awesome presentation with YFD with our foster grandparents. As you all know, they're in our Head Start programs or at our YFD centers. Anybody that's interested in becoming one, you have to be age 55 and older. And they're really wanting to have some guys to come be foster granddads, grandfathers in these settings as well. Erskine, he's already signed up for it, and Chip, thank you. Thank you so much for that. But great, but hey, everything is going great in YFD.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Gilbert.
Chair, I don't have a report, but I do want to, on behalf of Steve West, he want to thank all of you for donating to the Tyler Band. It was a very successful occasion. He really appreciated it.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilman Gilbert. Vice Chairman Henderson.
Mr. Chair, next Tuesday, October the 15th at 4 o'clock, I'll be chairing an ad hoc committee regarding the short-term vacation rental amendments that we'll be proposing in the conference room of the City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Councilman Ledford. Oh, he's gone. He snuck out on me. Son of a gun. Councilman Mitchell. I'll punch you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We will be having a Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting next Tuesday following agenda session. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, that concludes committee reports. Now we will move on to recognitions of person wishing to address the council on non-agenda items. Mr. City Attorney, would you please read the rules?
Yes, at the end of any council meeting, the chair can recognize persons of the public that wish to address the council, and here's your rules. Each speaker should come to the microphone up front provided for that purpose. No person can have more than 3 minutes to speak. The speaker can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority. Speaker can't use vulgar, obscene language nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. Please address your comments to the council as a whole, not to individual members. And the chair cannot recognize any person, neighborhood association, or organization to speak to the council on this portion of the agenda more than twice in any 30-day time period. The only person we have on the list that's got twice is Ms. Mott.
Is there anybody that would like to address the council tonight?
Hi, my name is Cherie James. I'm back. My brother was killed at Coyote Jack's December 17th, 2017. Sunday morning, I relived that day. There has to be something done. I was told you guys are where I need to go. There has to be something done. This latest little guy, I don't care what kind of lifestyle he lived, he was 19 years old. He laid out on the ground and died in front of everybody. I don't understand. I'm having issues. We just had trial. My brother's murderer is where he's gonna be. I have forgiven him. We've moved on with our life, and then here we go, right back to square one. And then we have a whole nother family that's sitting where we sat. And this is ridiculous. She just talked about Chattanooga and how grand and how great and how diverse it is. For some, Councilwoman, for some, but not for everybody. We can't get answers. We can't get calls back. I can't get an email back. I mean, what do I need to do? I need y'all to tell me what I need to do. And if y'all can't tell me, I need y'all to tell me who can. My 22-year-old brother was murdered over here in the middle of a tourist district. This is where people come and they want to spend their money in Chattanooga. They walk around at night with their kids out there. And we killing people. And it's okay. It's okay, because nobody's responsible. I guess the parking lot holds my brother's blood, but actual Coyote Jack's property holds Mr. Rogers' blood. I just need somebody to tell me what's going on. I'm telling y'all, y'all are not gonna get rid of me. I'm the oldest. My baby brother was the baby. I'm responsible for him. I am my brother's keeper. And I won't stop. I will go as far as I have to go for this. I don't care if it's the mayor, if it's the governor, if it's the president. I don't care. I will go as far as it takes me going as a big sister. My brother's voice is silenced. My mouth is big. He will not be forgotten, and his death will not be in vain. I don't even know Brandon Rogers, but now his death will not be in vain because I'm on the case. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I need somebody to tell me what I need to do.
I'll be happy to speak with you again after this. I feel your pain. So we'll sit down and have another conversation. I will share with, you just asked.
But we've done this. I've emailed you. You didn't respond back to me. What all do I have to do?
Let's talk after. I'm not going to get back and forth because I feel your pain. I've been talking to, the media. I've been talking to our city attorney. I've talked to a number of people because I think it's deplorable and I think it's senseless. I totally agree with you. I cannot, argue that point that, there's something immediately needs to be done, and we as a council feel your pain. I thought, ma'am, if you want to speak, you feel free to have your 3 minutes up here. Ma'am, we'll talk. I'll share with some stuff with you. Officer, please. This is. Nobody's ignoring anybody's death. I feel your pain.
Please, we're asking you to help us. Please, help us.
Yes, please. Councilman Byrd would like to speak.
All we want is your help.
Hey, ma'am.
You want to help us? Why did you run?
Ma'am, and one of the things that I've been trying to figure out is how does it fall into play? And your voice, what you're saying makes sense because I had 2 nightclubs myself.
Wait, Anthony, I apologize. We'll get with you right after this.
We'll talk.
Tucker, sir, I'm getting ready, as a matter of fact, we are adjourned.
You're a coward. That's what you're a coward. You will not be mayor. You're a coward.
Got to file a petition with the court